top of the hour. Last night, service members and their families, congressional leaders, and even members of the Fox family, a lot of them, came out for the 11th Annual Armed Forces Foundation Congressional Gala. I had an opportunity to MC, and it's always a fantastic thing to do. We just got some interesting numbers. There was 125 generals there last night, 70 members of Congress, and overall about 600. Joining us right now, two people that made that happen, two very important people with this organization. The president of the Armed Forces Foundation, our familiar face on our channel, Patricia Driscoll, and actor Frankie Muniz is here. And for the first time, Frankie, you're a part of it. Now, first off, how did Frankie become part of the Armed Forces Foundation, Patricia?
I met him at Barrett-Jackson and a couple of years ago, and then this year we started really hanging out. You know, he's usually bidding on cars and not winning, or like not. So we had really some special people with us, Bobby and Kia Gray, and he just fell in love with their story and really what we're about. And you know, everybody in that room was moved when we sold that future liner for $4.6 million at Scottsdale. So, you know, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience.
And Frankie, as a guy that burst on the scene, even from my dog Skip to Malcolm in the Middle, you go down and you want to support the troops. What did you see at that event that raised how much?
$4.6 million.
$4.6 million.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just hearing the story just really inspired me to get involved. You know, I don't have like a personal tie. I don't come from a military family, but hearing, you know, about our veterans and what they're going through and what they do for us just really inspired me. I want to help out in any way I can, and Patricia's a great person, so I want to be on board. And just to recap, Bobby and Kia Gray told their story. And Bobby comes back from the war and had trouble adjusting, and she actually found him moments before he hung himself.
No, he had hung himself, and so she cut him down.
Right.
You know, and then
still alive.
Still alive, thank God. And he spent a couple of weeks in the hospital recovering before he even came to, and was able to. He didn't even realize he had hung himself. That's what's so fascinating. I thank God every day that we have him to tell his story, because a lot of us don't understand why these guys are committing suicide and how they get there. So he's really important to everybody. And
that's part of what the Armed Forces Foundation does. You had an unbelievable idea. TRICARE, no one complains about. They like it when you're in the military. When you go to the VA, everyone hates it, and they're trying to straighten out their act, but they can't. So you said, let's extend TRICARE.
Yeah, for 18 months post-deployment. These guys are getting medicine, they're getting good treatment in the Department of Defense. Why interrupt that care? So while they're transitioning back into a civilian life, why not pass a bill that allows us to extend health care for 18 months so that they can settle in, then they can find a good doctor in their community, and we can help reduce that suicide rate. Most people commit suicide between 0 and 3 years after they get out. So if we can help make that transition smoother, make sure that they have the same meds. A lot of people don't realize when you go to the VA, those meds are not available always that you were taking in DOD. It seems crazy because not all antidepressants are the same. So when they go over to the VA and someone says, oh, well, we don't have Wellbutrin anymore, you have to use something else. Well, it takes a lot for that service member to have gotten on the right meds in the first place, but then to go and mess that up and then not even be with the same provider they were seeing before and talking to, and then they go in and then they get one health care appointment a month, and then every month they go in, it's a different counselor. Who's going to want to go and get help? Nobody.
Frank, do you think you're going to stay involved in the organization?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is just the beginning. We have a lot planned. I'm going to be in D.C. a lot more often, helping out with AFF. I'm hurting new interns. Getting a lot of coffee, and, making sandwiches, I guess.
That's great. And if you can keep up with Patricia, who goes to the after party, conducts this whole night, does incredible work, and then still gets up and does our show in the morning. That's fantastic. I should do an ad for Vivarin. And by the way, how do we get in touch if we want to support Armed Forces Foundation?
If we want to support Armed Forces Foundation, you can either follow me on Twitter at @PatriciaAFF_AFF or armedforcesfoundation.org and keep up with what we're doing.
Right. Ed Henry, Anna Koyman, amongst the people that were there last night, and Mike Emanuel. Guys, thanks so much for getting up, and thanks so much for having me last night.
Thanks for coming in and doing it once again.
I know. It was fantastic. I appreciate it. Hey, guys, back to you in the studio a little bit later. We're going to have some more people from Washington Brain Trust.
Fantastic. All right, Brian and Patricia, and of course, look at that, Frankie Muniz. He's Malcolm in the Middle on TV.
Right, and he's actually in the middle here.
Exactly.
Sure,
Never heard that before.
Right in the middle of a bunch of patriots there for sure. Thanks, Brian.